A lot of Tennessee craftsmen work with wood, and many would probably want the finest raw materials possible before turning them into furniture. But not the Appalachian craftsmen you're about to meet. Ken Wilshire takes us to Athens, where Jim McGie takes some of the ugliest pieces of wood and turns them into beautiful rocking chairs.
If it's gnarled, twisted, crooked, or contorted, it's prime material for this Tennessee craftsman.
I really have an affection for nature, and that's why I love what I do, because I can search, through the hills here in Tennessee and find natural elements.
Actually, the more unusual the branch or limb, the better for Jim McGie. This talented woodworking artist is always exploring his backyard wilderness for pieces that appear to be more like nature's outcast.
Just finding those elements, they are treasures. So sometimes when I find one, I don't know exactly what it's going to be at the moment, but I know I've got to have it, and then the day will come when I pick that piece up and go, oh yeah.
And then the transformation into some of the most exquisite furniture you'll find in the Appalachians begins.
I really enjoy the naturally twisted woods here in the mountains. Usually it's a honeysuckle vine or something that gets around a small sapling, and sometimes they are marvelously twisted. And generally they die at the heart when they're about the size of a walking stick. So finding the size that I love for making a big massive rocking chair in is really unique. And I started calling those chairs Nature's Twist years and years and years ago, and people have just really fallen head over heels for them.
He calls his shop Buckhorn Ridge Studios. It's nestled deep in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains near Athens, Tennessee. Jim says there's just no better setting for his nature's creations.
I really get thrilled about making something that is exciting to make, and that's what creativity for me is all about. It's about coming up with a new thought, a new idea. It's fresh, it feels alive, the process is alive, and it really is energizing, to create something. And every day I stand back and look at what I've done, and sometimes I'm just amazed at, look at that, that's so cool, how did I think of that? It just kind of happens.
And when it does happen, his rockers are one of a kind and can't be duplicated. Jim calls them traditional family heirlooms that are not only artistic but comfortably functional. But his career actually began by crafting wooden spoons, bowls, and brooms.
And then the day came when I tried to make a chair. And pretty much made it with a draw knife, a spoke shave, a hatchet, and a hammer. And it turned out pretty good. And I still remember the first rocking chair I ever made. I had it up on my workbench, finally got the rockers on it, gave it a little push, and watched it rock, and let out a squall and headed for the house, saying, you guys got to come see this thing. And I still feel that way. Every time I make a chair, it's just as exciting for me now.
But what excites Jim even more is how his chairs are created. Certainly there are no power tools. He's amassed a collection of heritage hand tools passed along from his grandfather that he skillfully uses to shape and build his stunning works.
When I was a boy, I could take one of those old tools and hold it in my hand. And I think the thing that got me was they almost felt alive. It was like the life of the man who made that old tool. He put everything into making it. He expected it to last a long, long time. And here they're 200 years old and just as good as the day he made it. And then the life of the men who have held it before me. When I would hold that tool, it was like you could feel that. And I felt like they were being passed on to me. And I think my granddad would be very excited.
Jim, most of all your pieces are made with hand tools, and these are some old hand tools as well that you made a chair out of. Tell us about this one.
Well, this chair is made entirely out of mowing scythe handles. It actually took 10 of those to create this piece, and every one of those old scythe handles comes with 2 handles on them. The handles are in the original location, and those handles in the 1800s were called a snath. And so this chair has been called the snooze and snath. And the seat in the back are hand-woven hickory bark, and the magazine rack here on the side is also created out of all of those snath parts, and it's all locked together with black walnut pegs.
Like his Appalachian artisan predecessors, this is what creativity is all about. There are no plans, drawings, or diagrams. Every chair is given life from the vision of an extremely talented craftsman who uses the original tools of his trade to express his passion for his art.
Anything that I can visualize as fun and exciting and thrilling to create, that's where I go. That's what I really love, that I make a chair for someone who really appreciates me, you know, and when they buy a chair, they get a whole lot of me.